Why is it so easy for us to spend hours scrolling through social media, but so hard to start working on that big project at work or take action on a business idea we've always wanted to pursue? Research shows that our brains see lazy tasks as more rewarding than hard ones that have a real impact on our lives. But the good news is that there are some easy ways to trick our brains into doing hard tasks and consistently working on our top priorities, even when we don't feel like it. So, to outsmart our brains, we first need to understand how they work. Science shows that the average person makes around 35,000 decisions a day, which is 2,000 per hour and one decision every 2 seconds. And whether you are a CEO, a designer, or a student, the process of making those decisions is the same for most of us. In his book, Thinking Fast and Slow, psychologist Daniel Kahneman explains that our brain essentially has two separate systems for thinking. System one is fast, automatic, and effortless. It's the intuitive and emotional way of thinking that helps us make quick decisions based on patterns and past experiences. On the other hand, System 2 is slow, logical, and requires conscious effort. It's the part of our brain responsible for analytical reasoning and problem solving. So, when we think about doing or not doing something, research shows that our fast thinking System 1 makes up about 95% of our daily mental activity. This means that our brains prefer the easiest task, not necessarily the best one. This can explain why, even when we know it's better to get off the couch and go to the gym or write the report, we often procrastinate and start scrolling through social media. Now, one of the best ways to really understand how these two systems operate is to imagine an elephant with a rider on its back. In this metaphor, which is used by psychologist Jonathan Haidt, System 1 is the elephant because of its strength, and System 2 is the rider. When you set goals for yourself, like getting in shape, writing a report, or starting a business, you are actually making plans for your elephant to execute. Acting on these plans is like trying to get a wild animal to obey. Our logical thinking, the rider, may be smarter, but he doesn't have much power. Many times, the rider even works for the elephant, justifying its decisions like a lawyer defending a client. Research shows that our elephants really love instant gratification in the present moment. And the further away a reward is, the less the elephant cares, and the more we procrastinate. So now that you know your elephant will try to distract you every day with easy but not so important tasks, let's look at ways you can trick your brain into working on your top priorities. Tip number 1. Break down hard tasks into bite-sized, easy tasks. We all know that to get an animal to do what you want, it's better to use a carrot than a stick. So a great way to motivate your elephant to run in the right direction is to increase the short-term rewards for the task you're procrastinating on. The closer the rewards are, the harder it is for the elephant to ignore them. One way to do this is to use the salami slice method, breaking down your hard task into smaller and manageable salami slices. Each slice is not as intimidating as the whole task, making it easier for your brain to tackle one piece at a time. For example, if learning to code is your top priority, you might break it down like this. By doing this, you not only reduce confusion about what you need to do, but also experience multiple small rewards, instead of waiting for one big reward. This keeps your elephant motivated to keep going. In fact, studies show that every time you cross something off your list, you release dopamine, which is linked to feelings of pleasure and motivation. When we feel the effects of dopamine, we're eager to repeat the actions that led to that success. So, keeping a detailed checklist can really help trick your brain into tackling hard and important tasks. Alright, so tip number 2 is to gamify your tasks. Our brains love playing games. There's something about winning challenges and getting rewards in a fun way that can keep us motivated for hours. So you can take a boring task and turn it into a game by creating a point system to earn rewards you really enjoy. This system works by attaching a certain number of points to a task based on how important or difficult it is. Once you reach a certain number of points, you reward yourself. For example, if you hit 30 points, you can scroll on social media for 15 minutes. If you get 100 points, you can watch an hour of Netflix. You can even make it more fun by trying to beat the number of points you scored the day before. So let's say you set up a point system where you get 100 points for finishing part of a big project and 20 points for answering emails. When you hit 120 points, you can treat yourself to a movie. And the great thing is that the rewards are guilt-free because you earn them by getting your work done. So by turning tasks into a game and rewarding yourself, you help your brain create a positive connection with the hard tasks, making them easier to tackle. Next is tip number 3. Make it really easy to start. Research shows that thinking about a task is what causes most of the pain, not the task itself. When you actually start working on it, the pain usually goes away. So the real problem is not doing the work. It's starting the work. Since the hardest step is usually the first one, try setting the bar very low by making it very short. This is where the 2-minute rule can help. It means breaking your task into a small part that takes 2 minutes or less. For example, instead of thinking about writing a whole report, just focus on writing 2 sentences. Instead of thinking about reading an entire book, start with just 1 page. And instead of thinking about a full workout at the gym, just put on your gym shoes. The goal is to make starting the task as easy as possible. Once you begin, it's usually easier to keep going. The steps after starting might be challenging, but the first 2 minutes should be easy. Next is tip number 4. Adopt the identity of a doer. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you're just a procrastinator or a lazy person, and that nothing will change that. But the truth is, procrastination is a habit, not a personality trait. So one of the most powerful ways to beat it is to connect your tasks and activities to your desired identity. It means viewing your tasks through the lens of the person you want to become. So instead of seeing yourself as someone who hates doing hard things, you see yourself as a productive person who loves challenges and growth. And instead of thinking, I have to do this, you think, I choose to do this. This mindset shift helps rewire your brain to act in ways that match your new identity. For example, if you see yourself as an athlete who is committed to being in shape, it becomes easier to go to the gym or say no to a big slice of chocolate cake. Similarly, if you see yourself as a high performer who consistently delivers results, it's easier to start working on your top priorities. By thinking of yourself as the person you want to be, you make it easier to do the tasks that align with that identity. Lastly, tip number 5, build a solid daily routine. We've talked about how to stop procrastinating in the short term using 4 tactics. Now, let's discuss how to break the habit of procrastination for good. Instead of relying on motivation and willpower, we need to give our writers a clear plan for handling procrastination triggers when they come up. And one of the best ways to do this is by building a system, which is a set of habits and routines you consistently follow to achieve your goals. The first step is to set aside time to get organized and think about your daily strategy. Plan out what your productive daily routine will look like. Consider your top priorities for the day, how you'll approach them, and which tactics you'll use. This doesn't need to take long. Just 10 minutes of planning can save you hours. The next step is to improve your system each day by 1%. This means eliminating what isn't working and embracing what does. Your goal is to create a productive daily routine that, over time, becomes as automatic and easy as brushing your teeth. So to sum it up, next time you find yourself procrastinating on your top priorities, remember that it's not your fault. Your elephant, your fast-thinking system, is doing its best to make you choose easy tasks and receive immediate rewards. But by using the 5 tactics we just talked about, you can move your elephant in the right direction, doing hard tasks and consistently working on your top priorities.